welcome to Little Hill Homestead. We're getting ready to go camping, and I decided I'm gonna make my own marshmallows for our s'mores. I'm gonna make graham crackers too, but for my marshmallows, I needed corn syrup. I make my own because you don't need to buy it from the grocery store. So this is a little bit thicker than commercial corn syrup. So you will need to either like heat it up in the microwave for just a second when you go to use it, or heat it up just in a little bit of hot water, like stick the container into a bowl of hot water and kind of let it just sit for a little bit. But the ingredients you have in your home: water, corn syrup, salt, and sugar. As long as you have those, you can make this. The other fun fact is, did you know that corn syrup is really like something that you can get in the US, and a lot of countries don't have corn syrup? So for recipes that we make that require corn syrup, they can't make them. And so what I decided to do is show you guys how to make your own. So the first thing we're gonna do is turn our pan on. I have a pan that's larger than you would think you need, because if you've watched some of my other videos where I cook with sugar, I tend to let it boil over or have to remove it from the heat a lot. And so I just decided, just size up, make your life easy. What you're gonna need are 5.5 cups of just regular old white sugar. Can't really get around this one. You can make a half batch of this, by the way, but it's 5.5 cups. And then you need 2 cups of just water. I'm gonna put that in the pan. Actually, I'm gonna flip this right over on my dish strainer because I don't need to wash it. I'm gonna be using, this is a weird whisk because my whisk broke, but this one's just as good, so we're good. All right, the next thing we need is 1 teaspoon of just cream of tartar, which is a byproduct of winemaking. One of you guys pointed out. I had actually read that, but it's very tart like lemon, and it kind of changes the compound in things, which is kind of strange. I don't actually understand how it works or exactly, but it's a byproduct of winemaking. So there you go, it's like an acid. The last thing you need is 1 pinch of salt, which is like maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon if you're wanting to measure. Put away things as I go because otherwise my kitchen ends up being a disaster. Okay, so what you're looking to do here is get the sugar and the water kind of just incorporated so everything is moist. I don't know if you can see my pot. You can see my pot a little bit, we're good. So everything is now like put together. It looks like really wet sand. I don't know, the sugar's not gonna melt into this yet, but it's all moist. That's all you wanna do there. You need a candy thermometer for this recipe. There's not really a way to get around this one. You do need one, unless you know exactly what 240 degrees looks like. I don't, so I opted for the candy thermometer. I use this for other things anyways, and they're fairly reasonable, and once you buy one, you'll have it the rest of your life. You can get them on Amazon, of course, for cheap, but you're just gonna clip this on the edge. They come with like a little clip, pink, and then this one actually has like a red mark that you can put as your like goal of where you're aiming for on your recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and sink that down in there, just like that. So this one, it takes 20 minutes once it starts boiling, but until it starts boiling, you wanna keep the sugar off of the edge of your pan, because if there's any sugar that gets up on the top of your pan and then when it bubbles up, it ends up in your recipe, it can actually cause it to recrystallize. And so you kind of want to avoid that, otherwise you end up back where you started, and there's no point there. You don't want to do that. So I have a basting brush that I got from Dollar Tree and a bowl of water. And all you're going to do is wet it, and you want to basically go around the rim with the brush and let the water dribble down the sides, and it's going to keep your sugar from sticking as it comes up the sides. It's gonna keep it down in your mixture, which is where you want it to be. I also want to point out, you do not stir this recipe. Don't stir it at all, like beyond what I already stirred. You don't. It's just one of those weird things. It causes it to go up on the sides, which is again, not what we want. Okay, so I have water all the way around. I'm just gonna kind of watch it and make sure that it's not coming up the sides at all. If I see that the side is getting dry, then I'll apply a little more water. It's really pretty easy. So corn syrup, you guys know, I have one in the pantry somewhere because sometimes I just don't want to do this. Caro's corn syrup is like the #1. Corn syrup, this is very similar to that. Like I said, it ends up being thicker because it's more like a cane syrup than a corn syrup. So some people make corn syrup and they boil the husks. Do I have time for that? No, I don't have time for that. I can barely fit in videos some days, or showers for that matter. So the idea of boiling corn husks for 2 hours, no, not doing it. So I'm gonna take a little more water and just rim the edge. I still see the droplets from it, but I just wanna make sure that it's not getting on the edge at all. Or that anything we did have on the edge is getting rinsed back down, and it's basically kind of what we're doing here. I'm being a little careful where my thermometer is to make sure I get underneath it so we don't have a gap. But my mixture is just starting to boil. I don't know if you can see it at all. And I have you guys set up on my DIY tripod today, which is actually an embroidery stand, because it works better. You guys can see more, and I feel like, I don't know. So our mixture is just coming to a boil. Once it comes to a full boil, oh, I should have told you guys, by the way, if you do not have a brush and you don't want to do the water trick, while this is coming to a boil, you can pop the lid on it, and the condensation is gonna do what condensation does, and it's gonna go down the sides of your pot, and it's gonna basically do what we just did with a brush. You can also use a paper towel if you're really careful about not getting anything in there, or like a kitchen towel. Do the same thing with your water and let it dribble down the sides. So there's alternatives if you don't have a pastry brush. So it's just starting to boil. Dun, 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 dun. So what we're doing is you're gonna leave it on high. Don't touch it, don't do anything, and you're just gonna watch your candy thermometer till it gets to 240 degrees, which is like a softball stage. Softball? Yeah, softball, not like the sport, but like in candy making, there's different stages when you heat up sugar. That's how they determine things that are like taffy consistency versus like a hard candy like a butterscotch or a peppermint. Yeah, fun fact, I should probably not do videos on candy making because I'm terrible at it, but here I am making a sugar video. I'm really bad at these too. Usually it bubbles all over the place, or it's fine, it's fine. So, like I said, my husband and I are getting ready to go camping and making marshmallows from scratch, which I'm gonna include that recipe over the next couple days on how to make that. And then we do make our own graham crackers because they just taste so much better. So when you're camping and it's like nighttime, and we of course will go have like our Bluetooth speaker on and be listening to like 70s rock by the fire, and the kids are not going with us because they're all over 18 at this point. And so this is my husband's and I, it's our first solo camping trip. And so we're gonna be taking, we actually have recently done a van conversion, which I will also be sharing on the channel. We 100% did it from scratch, just the two of us. And we were able to get a hold of a little tiny van, and we have made it into a little traveling, I call it a traveling log cabin because we put wood all over it. And so it's pretty rad. I'm kind of in love with her. Her name is Vanna White because she's a white van. But I'll share that with you guys. We're gonna do a tour and kind of show you our little van conversion, which if you have watched this before, I said before, we're still fine on our time, by the way, we're getting there. We don't have animals because we want to be able to do stuff like travel. Our kids are all older now, and so we do a garden, we do canning, we do all that stuff. But we don't have animals beyond our dogs. We used to do chickens and goats and all that, but we like to travel and we want to see the world, and mostly just the United States in our little van. But our family is kind of, you know, close by. No, they're not. They're in California. And so we want to be able to go visit them and kind of just see the world, you know? Why not? So we have reached 240 degrees. All you're going to do at this point is turn it off. Don't touch it. Don't stir it. Don't do anything at all. I'm going to leave it. Actually, I'm going to move mine to the back burner because mine just stays too darn hot if I don't. Okay, I'm setting it on my back burner. What did that take us? Under 10 minutes to make corn syrup. Plus you got to hear about my weird, it's always a rant with me. Anyways, that's it, you guys. So this is, you're gonna let it cool fully, which because it's really hot sugar, it will take probably 45 minutes to an hour to cool fully. Once I do that, I put it into a glass mason jar and I just pop a lid on it. And we store it in the cabinet. It does not need to be refrigerated. And then, like I said, when you go to use it, I'll show you guys the finished product once it cools completely. But right now it just looks like sugar water, because that's basically what it is with a little cream of tartar in it. But it thickens up really nicely because we let it get to that really high heat. So anyways, what else do I need to share with you guys? So we're gonna be making graham crackers and marshmallows and some awesome like summery recipes coming up. I think I've shared with you guys some of the other ones we're doing, but if you guys have any recipes, if you're like avid campers, or maybe you like, we have a fire pit in our backyard, and I keep saying that I'm gonna cook dinner on the fire pit, like take our cast iron pot out there and like put it in the coals and stuff. If you guys have any really good camping recipes, like foil wrapped veggies, or I don't know, you know, and it's camping on a propane little tiny burner stove. So I might do some videos on some of our camping meals because, you know, you'll see in the video, we built an entire spice rack, kind of like the one behind us, sorta, mini version, but it's probably a bigger spice rack in our conversion van than most people have in their homes because we love to cook. So when we're camping, we make a point to be back and do like a 2-hour drawn out meal on some days. And then other days when we've been like hiking all day and we're exhausted, we'll just throw like, we'll bring like hoagie rolls with us and we'll just do like French bread pizzas over the fire, different things like that. But I'm thinking I might be able to bring you guys along and show you some of those videos. Plus, who doesn't want to see where we end up? Like this weekend, we're gonna end up at a lake in Georgia. So my husband can do a little fishing, and I'm actually gonna bring some like of my watercolor stuff, and I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably end up being lazy and just sitting and doing nothing the whole time and maybe reading a book. So if you have any good book recommendations, put them below. I'd love to hear them. Anyways, I'll be back in a few minutes to show you guys the finished product, but it looks like sugar water. I mean, it'll cool and I'll show it to you guys. But I leave my candy thermometer in there, by the way, so I can watch the temperature drop. Then I kind of know where we end up and what is cool. Anyways, okay, I think I've said anyways like 45 times. But the other thing, here's my rant number 17 for the day, is we're gonna be doing some series, like maybe one video a week or maybe 2, we'll see, on things that you guys don't realize probably that you can make, like corn syrup or baking powder or pantry staples that you guys don't realize that you can make instead of buying with ingredients that you probably have at home for a fraction of the price, and they usually taste better. So be on the lookout for those videos. But like I like to say, if you have any ones you want us to make, just comment below. We're gonna do some coffee creamers and I don't even know, some spice mixes and some, I don't know. I'm gonna, every time I run out of a container of something, I'll make a recipe to show you guys how we refill it. So there you go. We'll be back in just a minute. Once this is cooled, I'm gonna go cook lunch for my husband and myself, and this should be cool by the time we're done with that. And then I'll show you what it looks like and how I store it and how I use it and all that. You know what? This is the longest rant in history. We'll be back. Hey, we're back. It's been 45 minutes and this is still just a tiny bit warm, but I have to leave and I don't want to leave it out, so we're just gonna finish it. So what I do is I have a glass mason jar, and I just have a label on the top of it that tells me what it is, because if you see my cabinets or my refrigerator, I have 3,000 jars. If I don't label them, nobody's gonna know what it is except maybe me, and most likely that's not even the case. So I keep a jar, and then also I'm making marshmallows, and so I need 1 cup of that in my measuring cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure that out at the same time I'm pouring it, so we're good. But like I said, it's still a little bit warm, but you can already see the consistency is kind of thicker. And as it cools, it's gonna thicken up, I mean, significantly more. So I just carefully pour it in the jar. Oops, and go over the edge because that's what we do. And then, whoop, I did spill some. You can already tell because this is cooled how thick it is. But it tastes like corn syrup. It's actually really good because it's just sugary. But like I said, it'll thicken up. So what I typically will do when I go to use this, I'll pop this in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and that'll just thin it out a tiny bit to where it's pourable. Or you can take this and put it into some warm water, like just do a bowl of hot water, pop your jar in it, and the heat of the water will go ahead and warm that up for you. So that's how we make our corn syrup, you guys. Keep it in your cabinet. If you see it start to crystallize, you can still use it, but a little bit of heat usually takes that away anyways. So it's kind of like honey, you know? Just over time it'll do it, but it'll last probably 3 to 6 months in your cabinet before you have to make more. And if you have recipes, I hope you give it a try. It's delicious, like I said, and you know what's in it. And that's my biggest thing, is like so many people are anti high fructose corn syrup or corn syrup in general because of the high fructose corn syrup not being as, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So people give it a bad rap, but if you need some for a recipe, there's really not a substitute. Now there is. Go ahead and make our version of corn syrup, and I hope you guys give it a try. If you do, let me know what you make with it. I'd love to know, and I'd love to know how it turns out. Anyways, go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already, because I love you guys being here. I love that you just leave weird comments for me and ideas, and I really thrive off of that. So anyways, thanks so much for being here, and let me know what you make. Appreciate it. Bye.